Great. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. We are going to call this meeting of the TRPA Operations and Governments Committee to order. Today is Wednesday, March 25th, 2026, and it is 8:30 a.m. The first item on the agenda is the roll call to determine quorum. Maria?
Miss Bennett,
Here.
Mr. Bass, Miss Gustafson,
Here.
Miss Hill, Miss Lane,
Here.
Mr. Rice,
Here.
Madam Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Maria. And to Supervisor Lane, we wish you the best. I hope I didn't give you this to you. But I hope you feel better later today. I will now go over the remote and in-person meeting rules for the day. Remote committee members, please raise your hand to speak and mute your microphone unless speaking to help cut down on the background noise. I'd like to ask that all remote members turn on your camera if you are able, and remote members may not use the chat box to make any comments or to have sidebar conversations. If you are viewing the webinar on a personal computer in the room, please ensure that your microphone and speakers are turned off to prevent audio feedback into the room. Members of the public who have joined us in person, please raise your hand at the appropriate time for public comment, and you will be called to the front to speak. Committee members who are in person, please raise your hand if you wish to comment, state your name, and speak clearly into the microphone in front of you. If you are viewing the webinar on a personal computer, please ensure your microphone and speakers are turned off to prevent audio feedback into the room. So our second item on our agenda is public comment period for any items listed on the agenda. Any member of the public wishing to address the committee on an agenda item, please raise your hand now, either in person or by clicking the raise hand button at the bottom of your Zoom screen or by dialing *9 on your phone. And you will be called on and unmuted by a TRPA staff member. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per person. The comment period is reserved for items on the agenda. Comments on other matters may be redirected to the public interest comment period right before adjournment of the meeting. So first, I would like to see if there's any members of the public in person, and not seeing anyone in the room, I will turn it over to see if we have anybody online who would like to comment to the board or the committee.
Madam Chair, there are no hands raised to make public comment.
Great, thank you. Then we'll close the public comment period and we'll move on to approval of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda today, Chad?
No changes.
Okay, thank you. I will deem the agenda approved as posted, and we'll move on to approval of the minutes. We have agenda item number 4, approval of the minutes. We have a draft set of minutes from February 25th, 2026. It's on page 17 of our packet. Does any member of the committee wish to make a change? I'm not seeing any hands up and nothing here in the room, so I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented or as changed, but we didn't have any changes.
Rachel Bennett, I approve the meeting minutes
Okay,
for February 25th, 2026.
thank you. With that, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone object? Motion passes, minutes are approved. Then we'll move on to item 5A, discussion and possible recommendation for approval of the February financials. Information on this item can be found on page 55, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Cox to present the item.
All right. Good morning, Madam Chair and committee members. Thanks for having me this morning. Chad Cox, finance lead for the agency. As typical, want to show you a summary of how things are shaping up through February fiscal year to date, which is roughly two-thirds through the year, 8 months through. Right now, revenues are at $16.2 million, which is 53% of the budget, and expenditures are at $13.7 million, which is 44% of the budget. We'll get into more detail in a second, but what I did want to mention on this page, and I put a chart here showing our year-to-date planning fees. This was something that we came out of the gate slow in July, and then we had a couple of other months that were a challenge, but we're actually back to where we were in the prior year. We had a strong January, which I talked about last month, and February was also similar to the prior year February. So we're very close to being on budget, and we are 1.4% higher than the prior year. And remember, last year was a high year. So good news is that continues to trend in the right direction. So I wanted to give you a quick update on that. And then from an expense perspective, we're right where we would expect to be from a compensation perspective, and then we'll get into more detail on the expenses on the next couple slides. So moving to revenue in total, as mentioned, 53% through. We didn't see a lot of change this month. Really, the only increase in expenditures, we were only up $400,000 versus January, which would be as expected. That came up in our planning fees and our rent revenues. Those are the areas that we would come up on a monthly basis. We will be billing grant, third quarter grant invoicing will occur in April for March. So when we get back together in May is when we'll see that grant number uptick. Everything else is moving along as planned. You know, as you look at rent revenue being 2/3 done, 2/3 through the year is right where we'd expect. Other revenue is also on pace. And as I've mentioned before, we're there and complete for state and for local revenue. From a mitigation perspective, we're at $1.4 million of mitigation income. I'll get to expenses in a minute, but we do have a couple more projects coming to you later today that Tracy's going to bring you. So it's great to see those funds get used for project implementation. So everything's on track and relatively immaterial changes versus January. Any questions on the revenue?
Are there any questions? Not seeing any.
Great.
Please proceed.
Cool. So moving to expenses, 2/3 through the year, we're 2/3 through the compensation budget, which is right on track. Contracts we did see jump up last month, which makes sense as we continue to work towards grant implementation. We'll have those contract expenditures, and then we'll invoice those, like I mentioned, in May for our third quarter. We do have a Zions, which is who we have our bond and our building loan through. We have an interest payment that will be made in April, so that's up and coming. I did want to share that we were able to get our insurance reestablished for the current year. That's always a challenge going through that, and it was a very small increase year on year, which we thought was a success given how we've seen insurance premiums pop up a lot around the basin. So that's complete, and we're thankful to have that one behind us. And then finally, as you can see, we've had $1.2 million of mitigation expenses to date. We've got another roughly, I think it's around 450,000-500,000 of projects coming to you later today. So we'll see that come as those hopefully get approved and implemented, and we'll see those expenses come up through the rest of the year. So yeah, stuff looks to be on track. Any questions?
No questions here.
Great. And then finally on cash flow, in February, we received about $1 million in cash receipts driven by grant income from those invoices that went out in January, as well as fees. And then that was offset by $1.9 million in payroll and contract disbursements, which brought us to a net $900,000 use of cash. So we were at 6.2 of cumulative cash flow. Last month, we spent $900,000. So we're at $5.3 million of cumulative cash flow through February. And we'll see that spent down through the remainder of the fiscal year. So continuing to be in good position there. And so with that, that concludes my report, and happy to answer any other questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Cox. Are there any questions on these February financials? I'm not seeing any in the room. Anyone of our members online with a question? Okay, not seeing any there.
Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the February or recommend to the governing board approval of the February financials?
So moved.
Thank you, Wes. All those in favor? Yeah. Oh, yes, of course. I'm so sorry. Then I have to know who's online. Ms. Bennett? Oh, I'm sorry, Maria, you
That's
do
okay.
it. Yes,
Ms. Bennett,
Yes, approved.
I'm rusty at this.
Mr. Bass, Ms. Hill, Ms. Gustafson,
Yes,
Mr. Rice,
Yes.
Ms. Lane.
Yes.
Madam Chair, the motion passes.
thank you. And thank you for bearing with me. I'm used to chairing other boards. So this, I'm rusty at our committees. Okay, motion passes. So we'll move on to item 5B, discussion and possible recommendation for approval for release of $460,200 in excess coverage mitigation funds to the California Tahoe Conservancy for land bank acquisition. Information on this item can be found on page 71, and we'll turn it over to Tracy Campbell to present the item.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. For the record, again, Tracy Campbell here with the ERP department at TRPA with this request, as you mentioned, from California Tahoe Conservancy for $460,000 in excess coverage funds for land bank acquisition. As a reminder, excess coverage funds come from project applicants and are used by both the land banks, Nevada Division of State Lands on the Nevada side and the Conservancy on California side, to either acquire and retire potential coverage or to restore existing coverage in sensitive areas. So for this request, the funding would support acquisition of a 1.9 acre parcel on Blackwood Road in the city of South Lake Tahoe. The site is currently developed with a radio tower, equipment shed and generator, all of which will be removed, and the site will then be stabilized following the acquisition. The parcel sits within the Bijou Park Creek watershed, where restoration work is already planned both upstream and downstream of that site. So the acquisition will provide long-term benefits to watershed health, protect wildlife habitat, and preserve scenic quality. And it also, the Conservancy asked me to point this one out, it also secures permanent open space within a disadvantaged community. So there's also community and equity benefits along with those environmental gains. And finally, the project provides an opportunity for coverage removal or retirement, which is, as we know, consistent with the regional plan goals. Overall, it's a straightforward, high benefit use of excess funds that support both restoration and long-term environmental protection. We are joined online by Amy Rutledge with the Conservancy. Amy is overseeing this transaction, so she could answer any questions you might have. And with that, I will pass it back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Tracy. Appreciate that. Amy, did you have anything you wanted to add to that presentation Tracy gave us?
Good morning, committee members. The Conservancy highly appreciates our partnership ongoing to use excess coverage mitigation funds in positive ways in our community, and we're excited to be potentially working with you on another project. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I'll call on committee members. Are there any comments or questions? None here in the room. Anyone online? I'm not seeing any hands go up, but Maria, you'll have to help me sometime on.
Ms. Lane has.
Oh, Ms. Lane. Yes, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for sitting in for me. I didn't want the public to have to struggle with what I'm struggling with, but I do want to say I'm so excited about this acquisition. This is in the city of South Lake Tahoe, but it's also in the neighborhood in which I live. And it's such a great connector to the Bijou Creek. It's meadow, it's wetland. Having it in the Conservancy's ownership is just perfect. And I want to also thank TRPA for their partnership with the Conservancy to acquire parcels like this. It's just really important. I'm very excited about it. So thank you.
Well said, Ms. Lane. Any other comments or questions? Okay, if not, I'd entertain a motion.
I would move the item, move approval.
Thank you, Ms. Lane. And with that, I will ask for a roll call vote.
Ms. Bennett,
Approve.
Mr. Bass, Ms. Hill, Ms. Gustafson,
Yes.
Mr. Rice,
Yes.
Ms. Lane,
Yes.
Madam Chair, the motion passes.
Wonderful. And thank you all. This is a great project moving forward. Really appreciate it. Okay, we'll move on then to 5C, which is a discussion and possible recommendation for approval of release of $50,000 in Washoe County Water Quality Mitigation Funds toward the Burnt Cedar Lakeshore Boulevard Water Quality Improvement Project. This is EIP number 01.01.01.0211. Information on this item can be found on page 77 of our packet. And once again, Ms. Campbell, do you want to present this item?
Thank you, Madam Chair. That was a lot of zeros. So once again, for the record, Tracy Campbell with the EIP department with this request on behalf of Washoe County for $50,000 in water quality mitigation funds for the Burnt Cedar Lakeshore Boulevard Water Quality Improvement Project. The focus of the project is on upgrading the existing stormwater infrastructure, which currently allows untreated runoff to reach the lake. The project will install an improved treatment system, capture and filter stormwater before any overflow reaches the lake, and reduce erosion with some shoulder stabilization work. The project will also improve the look and feel of the site with the addition of some natural native landscaping. And finally, the project is expected to reduce about 1,200 pounds of fine sediment per year, directly supporting those all-important TMDL lake clarity goals. We're joined online by Domi Fellas, who's with the Nevada Tahoe Conservation District. They'll be partnering with Washoe County to implement the project, and she can answer any questions you might have. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. So we will ask if there's any comments from Washoe County on this. I'm not seeing her. Is she on the? Okay. I'll give it one more second. Did you want to make any comments? Oh, there you are. You're muted. I'm not sure. There we go.
Yeah, this is a joint project, NTCD, Washoe County, the Incline Village General Improvement District. This has been a project in the working for at least 5 years, if not 10. This has been going on. So we NTCD is super excited to get this project going and reduce some of this erosion that's been happening on the beach there in Incline. And I'm here if anyone has any questions.
Thank you so much for being here. And I will bring it back to our members of our committee to see if there's any questions for you. Are there any here in the room? None here in the room. Any of our committee members online have any questions or comments on this project? I'm not
There are
seeing.
no hands raised.
Thank you. With that, I would entertain a motion then.
Rachel Bennett, I'll approve the motion.
Thank you. And now, Maria, will you call the roll?
Ms. Bennett,
Yes.
Mr. Bass, Ms. Hill, Ms. Gustafson,
Yes.
Mr. Rice,
Yes, and pretty cat.
Ms. Lane.
Yes.
Madam Chair, that motion passes.
Thank you so much. Great, another great project. So we'll move on to item 5D, discussion and possible recommendation for approval of release of $40,000 to Washoe County Stream Environmental Zone SCZ mitigation funds toward the Lower Rosewood Creek Aquatic Organism Passage Project. Information, I'm not going to read all those numbers again. Information on this item can be found on page 83 of our packet. And Tracy, I'll turn it over to you again.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Tracy Campbell with the EIP department. With this request, as you mentioned, another one from Washoe County for $40,000 in stream environment zone mitigation funds for the Lower Rosewood Creek Aquatic Organism Passage Project. The focus here is on improving fish passage, specifically removing existing barriers in the creek that are currently blocking fish movement. The project will replace older culverts with fish-friendly structures restore connectivity through the stream system, and open additional habitat upstream. And that will support native species like the Lahontan cutthroat trout, especially during spawning season. The project also complements some previous restoration work in the Rosewood Creek system, helping to complete a more fully functioning stream environment zone. And we're joined online again by Domi Fellas with Nevada Tahoe Conservation District, who are partnering with Washoe County on this project, and she can answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, are there any comments you'd like to make before we discuss this item?
Yeah, this is once again, I've been working on this project trying to get it going for about 5 years now. I have pulled together, 5 different grant funding groups. Most of the funding is coming from the Lake Tahoe Restoration Act through TRPA and the U.S. Forest Service. We have worked with NDOW on this project to hopefully use Rosewood Creek for LCT spawning and giving them better habitat there in Incline on Rosewood and Third Creek. This also does some floodplain connectivity work. Rosewood Creek has had multiple restorations, and everyone has been so supportive of all the Rosewood Creek projects. This is kind of one of the final steps to use it as habitat for about 1.5 to 2 miles. Sorry if that was a little disjointed. Please let me know if anyone has any questions. Thanks.
It was not whatsoever, but managing 5 funding sources is probably very disjointed at times. Anyway, are there any comments or questions from the committee members? I'm not seeing any online, so I'd entertain a motion on this for this project.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the requested release.
Thank you, Mr. Rice. We have a motion, and I'll ask Maria to call the roll.
Miss Bennett,
Yes.
Mr. Bass, Miss Hill, Miss Gustafson,
Yes.
Mr. Rice,
Yes.
Miss Lane.
Yes.
Madam Chair, that motion passes.
Thank you all, and what a great series of projects to move forward to the governing board. And with that, we'll come to 5E, which is upcoming topics. And this is an informational item only. Members of the public are welcome to comment at the final public comment item. So Mr. Cox, you can tell us about our upcoming agendas.
Great, thank you. Chad Cox, TRPA Finance for the record here. So yeah, it's budget season. We're working through internally the roll up of the figures and the first pass at the work plan for our upcoming retreat in May. So in May, we'll give the Ops and Governance Committee a first look at the budget. We'll also have an investment update. We'll have Eric Lee from Principal Group giving us an update on those assets, and I'll give you a treasurer's report in May. Then in June, we'll be coming to the board in total for budget approval, as we typically would do for fiscal year 2027. We're also starting to kick off our audit. So we're doing the prep work now, but we'll be going through the full kind of audit kickoff in July as we finish the fiscal year. And then as we get through the rest of the year, stuff's kind of similar, just looking out ahead, right? We'll have continued financials and treasurer's reports as planned. And then in October, we'll plan to bring you again our annual fee update for our planning fees. So that's just kind of a look ahead, and yeah, all's well.
Thank you so
Sure.
much. Are there any comments or questions from the committee members? I'm not seeing any here in the room or online, and this was an informational item only, so we can move forward. We're on agenda item 6, committee member comments. Are there any members of the committee that would like to make any comments or updates? Not seeing any, then we'll move on to item 7, which is public interest comments. This is our general public interest comment period. Any member of the public wishing to address the Operations and Governance Committee on any item listed or not listed on the agenda may do so at this time. So are there any members of the public that would like to speak to the committee in the room? Not seeing any. And so online, are there any? Please raise your hand.
Madam Chair, there are no hands raised to make public comment.
Okay, so we'll close the public comment period. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. And the Regional Planning Committee starts at what time?
9:15.
9:15. So